Revolutionary greetings, everyone. It's the 21st of November, 2022. Why here it's a Monday, and they say it's a blue Monday, but it has got nothing to do with my shirt. We're here to respond to your questions. Please write your questions in the comment section so that we assist each other. There's a comment while you are writing your questions. There's a comment by Comrade Rosie Mataban. She's one of those that always comes to my channel, and we appreciate. We might not agree with some of her comments, but the fact that she follows the discussion, we appreciate. We don't have to agree on everything. In fact, when you agree on everything, then there's a problem. But she asked a genuine question. Uh, we recorded a video encouraging. We're talking about elections in the video that we recorded, the last video, and then she's asking whether this message does reach Zimbabweans in Zimbabwe, not in the diaspora. Yes, the message does reach. Very few people, of course, listen to YouTube. Data in Zimbabwe is expensive, so very few people listen to YouTube. I think in the month of October, with about 2,000 or so people in Zimbabwe that followed our channel. The rest are people that are in the diaspora in different countries. What we do is that we are available on a number of radio stations in Zimbabwe. We have a database of journalists that every time they come to us for information, and if there's also an information that we want to disseminate inside Zimbabwe, we send a WhatsApp voice note. So the majority of Zimbabweans listen to radio, so most of our message is carried out through Zimbabwean radios. You will have Sky Metro in Bulawayo, you have radio stations in Harare, that beam in that part of the country. You also have Studio 7, that beam from the States, United States, mainly in rural areas. We have a number of community radio stations in Zimbabwe that we use to disseminate our information. We also send at times written press statements for the state media, the Chronic or Herald. They do carry out our messages if our messages are not that are not seen as anti-government, but on documentation on other issues, they do carry out our message. So I might say that a lot of people listen to what we say inside Zimbabwe, and we are getting feedback from them. But on YouTube, it is mainly people that are in the diaspora. And the other thing that we have done, we also record 30 seconds videos that are circulating inside Zimbabwe. You will know that 50% of Zimbabweans are on WhatsApp. So we utilize WhatsApp messaging in terms of disseminating our information in Zimbabwe. So yes, we agree with you that it is important that as we build to the 2023 election, our message must also reach mainly those that are in Zimbabwe, because they are registered to vote. The majority of them, they are the ones that are going to cast their votes. Uh, over the weekend, again, we spoke about a women's organization that we must set up. This comes after the abuse of girls who are kids who are 9 years old. You know that in Zimbabwe we have kids that fell pregnant at the age of 9. One gave birth, and the other one is pregnant. And we are calling for a progressive women's organization. So we thank Comrade Dominic Tweed with his intervention. I will simply read the first part that he sent to us. He says, I quote, a mass democratic organization of women is necessary for any country to have, like a trade union center. It should not be the property of any political party, but it should be open to all women, close quote. We appreciate this intervention from Comrade Dominic. The third part, again, which this organization must engage on. You will recall that over the weekend we read that a young boy in Mpumalanga province in South Africa committed suicide after he was accused by one young girl that he had raped her when he had committed suicide, and then we were told the girl said she was simply joking. So our society needs intervention. We need to have a proper organization that teaches about our own values as African people. Uh, then the next comment, we are waiting for your questions on documentation. Uh, um, the other question that we received over the weekend was in respect to those holders of Zimbabwe exemption permits that are going over Christmas holidays. What the government of Zimbabwe announced was that you will be able to take your vehicle and other belongings duty free if you are a returning resident. So in December, you are not a returning resident. You are going for holiday, you are going to visit. You will only be a returning resident in June when you then go forever. We did indicate in the video that we recorded that normally they will give you 2 years. If, say, you take your vehicle, say in June, you don't pay duty, and then after 2 months you leave the country, you will forfeit the right of having your vehicle not paying duty. So when you go to Zimbabwe over Christmas holidays, you are not a returning resident. You are simple visiting like you have been doing. So you can't then say you want to leave your vehicle in Zimbabwe in December, come back in January without your vehicle so that you don't pay duty. They will ask you to pay duty. And if you fail to pay duty, then they are going to confiscate the vehicle. And you also know the TIP is clearly written. You are given number of days, the temporal import license, temporal import permit, sorry, TIP, temporal import permit for your vehicle. You need, they will give you days, and you are not allowed to leave your vehicle in Zimbabwe. I remember one time I drove to Zimbabwe, and I drove my vehicle to Zimbabwe. Then I had an emergency to attend in South Africa. So I left my vehicle without informing the immigration, the Zimbra. So I left my vehicle in Bulawayo without informing Zimbra. Then I came back to Johannesburg to attend to an emergency. So when I went back, I was fined. I was fined 500 US dollars. I think that was 2013 or so. 2013, 2014. I was fined $500 because they said it is clear in the TIP that if I had a problem with my vehicle and I wanted to leave it, I should have reported to Zimbra. But because I did not report, they actually impounded the vehicle and I had to pay $500. So you don't have to do that. So when you go back, when you go for holidays in December, you are going there, you are coming back. And you also know that when you are on TIP, your vehicle, you need to register the number of drivers who will be driving the vehicle in Zimbabwe. And then times you are not allowed to even carry passengers. So again, I asked my brother to drive my vehicle when I was tired. We're in Zim. Then we were told that the police roadblock that no, that's that is not what the TIP says. It says I am the driver, not my brother. So you need to be careful on those things. Comrade Maya Dube writes, good morning, Comrade Mapena. You haven't received any response from the task team in charge of our permits, or they are waiting for the court case on the 28th of November. We have not yet received anything. We don't know when they are going to respond to us. We will try this week. Hopefully, when we meet in this platform on Friday, we will have spoken to them so that we get clarity and assisting assist many people that are in your situation, Comrade Atmaya Dube. We are moving to conclusion. Um, of course, there was a comment again when we spoke about the Zimbabwean who was is said to be convicted. I'm not sure whether he's already been convicted for 10 years, was inciting people to ban police stations in Zimbabwe, which the British government says it's an act of terrorism and has been charged for 10 years. And the message was we need to encourage all of us to be careful on what we say on social media in case we invite our host government to arrest us. The moment we get arrested by our host governments, and the comrades who have been arrested in Zimbabwe on trumped up charges, will make things difficult for them, because the Zimbabwean regime will say, this is what we have been saying all along. So it is important that we be careful on what we say, but we must condemn the British government. We must condemn the British government in what it has done. Yes, the person spoke on video, all sorts of all manner of things, but it did not carry out any deed. It did not act, did not ban anything. He was simply speaking on social media. We think that was harsh in sentencing him to 10 years. It was harsh in our view. We think a fine was sufficient for that, but to send a person for 10 years, it is harsh. But of course, we're also surprised by the opposition in Zimbabwe. It doesn't speak about that because of the last 22 years, to them, Britain and the United States, the other comrade put it well. He says, Britain and the United States are the benchmark for a democratic society. They think they are democratic, and many people look up to Britain and the United States and the rest of the world. They are dictators. You talk about Russia, Putin, and so forth. But when these things then happen, they then keep quiet. And we know the reasons why they are keeping quiet. Comrade Patrick Chimene says, morning, Comrade Mabena, I got a ZEP, and when I came back, I was given 90 days. Was this not supposed to apply after June next year? It is supposed to apply. What you also do yourself, you need to inform the immigration officer that there's a directive before they stamp your passport that it is up to 30 June 2023. So if you are given days, like last time we did speak to the director for border controls, where it said there's no need to go to the port of entry, but knowing some officials at the port of entry, you might find yourself in trouble. They will then claim that you overstayed and so forth. So the easier thing to go on the safe side is that when your 90 days is about to expire, you go and renew those days, because you might find yourself having difficulties being declared undesirable, and assuming you will not have moved to another visa and you are going to be banned. So it's better to play safe. The last comment. Uh, um, I think we have done the questions that were sent to us. Comrade Appelli Belly writes, morning Mr. Mabena, ngoDisemba masiye ekhaya kuyadingeka sibe necopy eveza ukuba siku-grace period until June ukuze sithole ama-TIP. The Zimbabwean government knows this is why they said you will get duty free for your vehicle and other personal belongings come 30 June 2023. So they know you don't have to carry that, but you might print, but it is not necessary. But like I'm saying, the problem at the border is that some officials who are getting to festive season, they like money too much and they connive with some other people. So that becomes a problem. But it should not be, it's not necessary really to carry that to the border. Comrade Puza Thursday says, you should be discussing matters on how to make Zim great again instead of having talks on how to stay in South Africa. But part of the problem, Comrade Puza Thursday, is that is not a problem, but the reality that we must deal with is that the working class of Zimbabwean origin are in South Africa. The Zim stats says there are 700,000 Zimbabweans in South Africa. I'm not sure whether it is accurate, but this is what it says. So you have the working class in South Africa who are supporting their families back in Zimbabwe. Particularly if, and the South African economy, which Comrade Puza Thursday, we maybe we have not been able to discuss the economic contribution. Just to stand from a month end on N1, you see the vehicles that are going across the border. These are South African registered vehicles. We call them Omalaicha. Toyota, Nissan, and the other motor firms are making millions out of Zimbabweans and other migrants because these vehicles are bought by Zimbabweans that work in South Africa. It contributes a lot, millions of rands to the South African economy. We are not talking about fuel that people buy. Last December, when Hinbro, in one place where they are carrying goods to Zimbabwe, we were doing a rough estimate to say, how much do these goods cost? And we agreed that they were over $1 million. People buy products in South Africa. So South Africa has benefited a lot economically from, we're not talking about the labor, the cheap labor. We're talking about what people purchase, whether your home appliances, your TV, your refrigerator, furniture. People buy here bedroom suits, they buy here building material, vehicles. They South Africa has made a killing. So it is wrong, Comrade Puza Thursday, when capitalists are benefiting from the presence of Zimbabweans. I invite you, just go to Messina on any day in the morning and see how many people are shopping in Messina. That benefits the South African economy. So we should not be saying because for one reason or another, you hate migrants or you hate Zimbabweans and you think they are a burden. The story that is not being told, which we've asked as part of the African Diaspora Forum in our research team, we've set up a research commission to work with the universities to do a scientific research on the contributions of the migrants in South Africa, the economy of South Africa. So, Comrade Malehumo, you are agreeing with the Comrade Puza Thursday, but it's a reality. We're not talking of migrants that are experts. I know quite a number of medical doctors from Zimbabwe. I know a lot of skilled Zimbabweans that work in South Africa, work for ESCOM and other state entities, artisans, electricians, boiler makers, and so on. I know lots of them who came here 1994 and thereafter. There are many engineers of Zimbabwean origin that work in South Africa. So we must at some point speak about this contribution as opposed to chasing those that are selling vegetables at Para. We know that then Operation Dudula will target those that are selling tomatoes in the streets, or those that are in the low skill working in restaurants and so forth. But let's talk about their economic contribution. People stay in high rise buildings. They pay maybe a bedroom flat 4,000, 5,000 rands a month. The landlord is a South African. They are benefiting a lot. So it's important that we need to speak to these things. But thanks for raising this. I think our commission on research should be ready early next year to produce a first paper, which we are going to discuss in terms of, after they've done a scientific research, in terms of the contributions that migrants are making in South Africa. Comrades, thank you so much. We'll continue engaging. Otherwise, have a great week ahead. My team, Senegal, is playing this evening at 6:30, but my ESCOM schedule says I'll be on load shedding, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to see my team Senegal playing. Otherwise, have a great week. Goodbye.